From the desert to the diamond, from the studio to the stage. A Titan education is defined by immersive experiences, research, internships, study abroad. These high-impact experiences yield high-impact people. Cal State Fullerton. Titans reach higher.
Thank you so much for joining our very first virtual town hall here at Cal State Fullerton. And thank you for your patience as we use new technology and attempt to answer your questions. We hope you and your loved ones are safe during these difficult times. Please join us on Wednesday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. for a virtual town hall for students. We have fielded at least 100 questions, and we have divided them into categories to be able to answer them. We have our administrators here today. We have President Fran Vergy, Provost Pam Oliver, Amir Debirian from Information Technology, and Harry LeGrand from Student Affairs. If there's a specific question you would like to have answered now, please email townhall@fullerton.edu. First off, we welcome President Fran Vergy. President Vergy, thank you so much for your commitment to our students and to the faculty and staff at Cal State Fullerton. The last month has been difficult as we pivot during this pandemic. What is the state of the university now?
Thanks, Ellen. It's great to see you. It's great to see everybody this morning. What we've achieved together in the past several weeks, in my view, as I've said to many, has been nothing short of breathtaking. 40,000 students moving to virtual learning, about 3,500 faculty moving to virtual instruction, nearly 6,000 employees working from home, almost 2,000 of our students moving out of the dorms, but keeping those that are most needy in the dorms, our foster youth and our students from out of state. Our library has gone virtual reference and virtual resource. Our admissions and finance, our financial aid folks are virtual. Supplemental instruction is up and running virtually. Student success centers up and running virtually. Our entire student support network and co-curricular groups are meeting virtually. We even have virtual rec center workouts for students. Our clubs are meeting virtually. Our communities are meeting everywhere. Yesterday we had a huge welcome to Cal State Fullerton Day, one of the most important days at our campus that did very well. We've handed out more than 1,000 laptops, MiFis, cell phones, etc. You know, I hear stories of unbelievable perseverance by our faculty and staff every day. Michelle Wood and Christy Cannell, two of our professors, they got their courses up and running right away, but then they reached out to create support groups for others in our community, having community support sessions. I know these are just two examples, but there's so many things that so many people are doing, our faculty and staff, to go above and beyond. So, you know, we've always been gritty. We've always had tenacity. We've always worked hard to reach higher. We tell the world it takes a Titan, and these past 6 weeks, I think we've proved that. It hasn't been perfect, for sure. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making this happen, for sticking with it. Continue to stick with it. We can be better and we will be more nimble. I know none of us signed up for virtual education and telecommuting, just as our students didn't sign up for it either. But given our choices, which were shut down and interrupt the academic progress of our students, I think we made the right decision. Health and safety of our community. I do want to recognize the stress, the tremendous stress, and the sorrow that a lot of us are feeling throughout all this. You know, I reminded of a story of a student that I heard from last week who had been working 20 hours a week at Albertsons during the course of going to school, and now he's working 80 hours a week. His mom and dad have both lost their job. His sister has lost her job. He's become the primary breadwinner for his family. He has to stop out from school. And I understand that's the right decision for him. It breaks my heart, and I know it breaks his too, but he's doing the right thing. I know it breaks the heart of our faculty and staff, but you are on the front lines hearing these stories and watching them unfold. Let our students know they have our support, our love, and our care. We are one big family. And I just want to thank you all for continuing your support. I want to thank you and let you know that you are truly titans of the largest hour. We had expected today that there might be a Supreme Court decision on our DACA students. It is not coming today, but it will likely come this week. And when it does, I want to be sure that although there are going to be a lot of moving parts with that, in the meantime, I want our DACA students and our undocumented students to know that we stand with them. We stand with them, with our students, but also with our undocumented faculty and staff. And we will do whatever we can legally and practically to support and protect them. I know there's lots of questions that are coming today. I'm honored to join this group of senior leaders and answer them. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Ellen. I think things are looking positive. We have only the best is to come. I know I feel that.
Thank you so much, President Vergy. On behalf of the Titan community, I would like to thank the President's Cabinet for their leadership in this time of change. Now let's move right into to answering your questions. We have Provost Pam Oliver with us. The first question is for you, Provost. We know that there was a rapid move to virtual teaching. Most of the questions centered around what's happening in the fall. Can you tell us anything about what will happen in the fall?
Thank you very much, Ellen. This is a question that is on many of our minds. We've been thinking about it at various levels and planning at various levels. We don't have any definite answer in terms of when the state will reopen and what we'll hear from the governor, because we know that we have to be able to test enough people and to be able to case track and to make it safe for people to leave from their shelter in place as they're doing right now. But what we do know is what we're planning at the university, and we can talk about that. We know that the university is going to be following the governor's guidelines and the protocols. We will also be following all the precautions set out by the CDC. We want to plan for a fall reentry or for fall, if it's virtual, in terms of being responsible and very thoughtful about the health and safety of our faculty, staff, and our students. That's of utmost importance. But in addition to that, we also know that the education of the students is essential. The research of the faculty is essential. Those are things that we really need to take into balance. And so we're thinking very carefully about those things. We are assuming that in the fall, we will be virtual. We will at least start virtually. And of course, that can change depending on the situation, depending on what happens with COVID-19. But at this point, that's what we're thinking. So we will start virtual, but we also are making plans for gradually re-entering. And those plans have to be made in such a way that we can ensure adequate physical and social distancing, that we can think about what are the courses or the classes or student experiences that need to be taught in person or face-to-face. What's the best way to teach those classes? As the introduction to this town hall this morning, we had a sort of the preview of what Cal State Fullerton is like in terms of the research, the labs, the immersive experience. And we know that those things have had to come to a stop. Many people are doing very creative things with immersive experiences, and I have to praise the faculty for that. But we do know that there are certain classes that would be better taught in person, although they'd be very small. We need to do this gradually, so we need to think about it very carefully. We have groups that are going to be working on these plans starting immediately because there's an urgency for planning for the option of some reentry. We know that after we start a gradual reentry, we also know there can be spikes in COVID-19, which would mean we'd have to pivot back to being completely virtual. So we need to be flexible. I know that the faculty and staff are thinking a lot about these questions, and they're thinking in terms of their own teaching, their own research, their own work. And we encourage you to make plans. What we know is that we had to jump very quickly this semester into a virtual environment, and having to jump very quickly without having time for in-depth plans added to the difficulty. So we encourage people, as we all are, is to make plans for the fall. What would it look like to be virtual? And that's what we're assuming. And then what would it look like in terms of how could we gradually re-enter safely and also do this with flexibility? I wish that I could give you a definite answer and tell you this is exactly what we're going to do, because I certainly would like to have some definite answers. But what I do know is that our plan is to enter virtually, and then to also have in mind what would we do to enter gradually and to have flexibility as we do it. And I want to thank the faculty and the staff for their flexibility. President Virgie mentioned how impressed we are and how grateful we are, but we really are grateful for the kinds of things that they're doing.
Thank you so much, Provost Oliver. As a follow-up to that, how have we modified grading policies for this semester?
Okay. So you saw that last week we put into place the grade modification where the students have the choice to choose credit, no credit, or their assigned grades for this semester only. The faculty will assign grades as they usually do, and they will be posted by May 22nd. That's typical, that's the regular date. Students then have 10 days to review their grades and make a decision if they would choose credit, non-credit, or their assigned grade. And that will be done course by course. They are going to be given lots of information in terms of making the best decision, because there are some groups that have to think very carefully about what they want to do or what's the best thing for them to do. Those would be veterans, students on probation, students taking GE classes. So we want to make sure that there's lots of information provided for the students, and we are trying to provide that, and we will continue to provide more and more on that. There will be a video so that students can see before they go into making their choice how to go about it, how to make a clear decision. If they choose something on, after, say, May 23rd, they choose something and then they decide to make a different choice, they have the option to alternate or choose a different choice up until June the 1st, which is the 10-day window. In addition to that, we also have moved the deadline for withdrawing from class for a non-medical withdrawal, and that date is moved to the last day of the semester. That's May the 8th, last day of classes, May the 8th. And the students can withdraw from a class if they choose, and they do not need to give any additional documentation other than COVID-19. COVID-19 meets the requirements for a non-medical withdrawal, and those requirements are that it is a compelling reason, and the second thing is it's outside the student's control. And we know that both of those things are true with COVID-19. We're hoping that both of these actions will help to relieve some of the academic stress. We know that the students are under the same kind of stress that we all are, and in many cases, even more difficult situations. So we were hoping to relieve academic stress with that.
Thank you so much, Provost Oliver. I know you and your team have been working really hard to ensure success for students. Thank you so much. To further address the question about moving from virtual work at home back to campus, I'd like to invite David Forgis from Human Resources, Diversity, and Inclusion to talk with us today. David, when can we expect to come back to campus?
Ellen, thanks for that question. And I just want to start by saying how much I miss seeing everyone around campus. But as we have throughout, our decisions will be guided by several sources. We look to the Chancellor's Office for system-wide guidance. We pay close attention to the Orange County guidance from the Healthcare Agency and other agencies in Orange County for our local situation. We look to the state, and we also very much look to the CDC. Pam mentioned some of these things in her remarks as well. That is exactly what we've done up until now, and it is exactly what we will continue to do going forward. You saw last week where the governor outlined some indicators to watch for, which include the sufficient ability to test, trace contacts, and support those who are positive or exposed, to increase hospital capacity to meet any surge in cases, and the ability to operationally support physical and social distancing. These guidelines mirror the federal plan announced last week, and based on these indicators, we are not yet even days away or weeks away from reopening. At least at the outset, how we perform our work will look very different when we reopen. Likely face coverings, gloves, and other personal protective equipment will be required or highly encouraged. Social distancing, which may require reconfiguring existing workplaces, will likely be required. We may go to rotational scheduling or staggered work days or hours, and likely will have some level of continued telecommuting. When we do return, what we know is that we will be able to utilize and capitalize on the amazing sense of teamwork that has taken place across campus as we've shifted to our current reality.
Thank you so much, David. David, could you continue along that vein? How are we helping families that may need some additional flexibility for childcare obligations or other obligations?
I really understand this need to be flexible in this new work environment. My 2 girls are at home as well and doing school here from home, and I know that we've all had to adapt. We're thankful that the COVID-19 paid administrative leave program came as a system-wide initiative so that we're able to accommodate some of those needs that our faculty and staff have to be able to balance their work and their family responsibilities. We are very much encouraging our managers to work with employees to come up with creative schedules. And there's lots of other ways that we're trying to assist and support our families as well. Please know that the Employee Wellness Program through Empathia Life Matters, our employee assistance program, continues to be available for counseling and other resources that any employees may need. Other resources for our employees and families can be found on our website, resources from St. Jude, from Schools First, from Salvation Army, among many other partners. We're also trying to host some fun things to help keep our spirits up. We'll have Titan Family Engagement Day this week so that employees and their children can engage and participate in some fun activities. We also have a mini-me segment that airs today at 1:30 where employees can feature their kids and their talents. So again, trying to just have those opportunities for us to incorporate our children into our new reality and to also have a little bit of fun in such a stressful time.
Thank you so much, David. Can you tell me what the Infectious Disease Working Group is recommending?
Absolutely. This working group has been up and running throughout our response and will continue to guide the work that we do. It's made up of staff from across campus that are monitoring and providing good guidance to us. What they're saying right now is that we need to continue to practice good hygiene daily. Please wash your hands and use hand sanitizer regularly. Avoid touching your face and practice coughing and sneezing etiquette. Wear face coverings well in public and disinfect frequently used items and surfaces as much as possible. Follow all CDC state and local guidelines. If you are authorized to come to campus, whether regularly or occasionally, please don't come to campus if you're sick. Please stay home if you are sick. Please follow the recommendations to wear face coverings and other personal protective equipment. And please maintain social distancing. We want everyone to stay informed and practice self-care. More than anything, we want everyone to be healthy and for us to be able to return to normal as soon as possible.
Thank you so much, David. Now we'd like to move on to Amir Dabirian, VP of Information Systems Technology. Amir, how are we adjusting to the changes in terms of technology?
First of all, good morning, and it's great to come into all of you from the virtual sense, which is technology-based and Zoom. I want to first thank the entire campus to really make the transition to this during this tough time, and I want to thank the Information Technology Division as a whole that step up to really bring what the needs are to the campus from that perspective. What we have done is with information technologies, we have really increased our infrastructures and Zoom capacity, and we are able to, and we have purchased equipment for our faculty and staff and students. As President indicated, we have provided laptops, MiFi, cell phone, webcam, headsets, the faculty, staff, and our students in need. And we continue doing that throughout the entire semester. Technology plays a vital role in this virtual remoting way of doing during these tough times. So we are here for you. We are here to support the entire campus. Please let us know what we can do for all of you and for your students. And so we are here for the entire community. We have stepped up our help desk to completely being virtual and be able to help faculty and staff and students. I want to give you some stats. Our Zoom has peaked about 4,500 sessions during the Monday to Thursdays. We have our help desk calls as on a first day of remoting came out to about 300 calls for faculty staff, and roughly right now about 100 calls a day for faculty staff and about 100 calls a day for students. We have increased titanium capacity, and the stats shows it that we are using titanium 38% more than we previously did before the virtual session. And in closing, I want to say that we are still continue providing equipment for our faculty, staff, and students, and we are here for you to support you every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amir. I know you and your team have really been working around the clock. We'd like to bring in Harry LeGrand from Student Affairs. Harry, I know that we have a virtual town hall set up for students on Wednesday, the 22nd at 5, but can you briefly speak about what we are doing for students now?
Sure, Ellen, thanks for inviting me this morning. And let me just give a shout out to the Student Affairs team who are working virtually and still providing service to students. I know many of you didn't get to this business to work from home, but I really do appreciate your willingness to reach out and keep it as normal as possible in this new environment. So one of the things I would say is that, of course, students are the lifeblood of the campus, and I think we all miss seeing that vitality moving around the Fullerton campus. And so we've been trying to do whatever we can to kind of keep that connectivity, which is so important to our student population. So I might just say that as from a student services perspective or student affairs perspective, we've been trying to, not only trying to, we actually have provided virtual services in a variety of different areas. And so, for example, our Veterans Resource Center, they're still providing certifications for veterans who need it so that we'll make sure their funding continues. Our financial aid, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, has been doing a lot of outreach in that area. Our admissions people and our outreach staff who would normally be out in the schools are continuing that communication and contact with school districts and with teachers and counselors in that particular case. All of our special population centers are doing virtual hangouts and pop-ins and drop-in sessions in order to make sure that students are feeling connected to the campus. Our child care facility, when we closed down, realized that parents are not teachers, and so they've been providing virtual lesson plans to parents that are age appropriate so that while they're at home with their child, they continue to provide them with some educational guidance in that area. And our career center actually has said, our seniors still need that opportunity for some kind of career fair. So we're planning on in May having a virtual career fair with whatever companies are still operating and are available to us and providing that opportunity for our students as well. And I would just say that we really are trying to be forward thinking. Our counseling center has done virtual one-on-one appointments for students, and any student who needs it through our care services, emergency grants, all those kinds of things, we're trying to make sure that we continue to support students in any way we can.
Thank you so much, Harry. I know that our data shows that a number of our students are economically disadvantaged. Are there specific ways that we're helping those students?
Yes, I would say that financial aid really was forward thinking in that. So back in March, we actually had already started to send out some emergency fund, and we did something like about $8.4 million back in March. And then we added about another $2.2 million in April in emergency support for students who we knew were having some financial difficulties. And I know there's been a lot of publicity around the CARES Act and what that actually means. The funding, just to be clear, the funding has not come to the campuses yet. And the feds are not going to release it until they have completed their frequently asked questions site, and we're getting more guidance from the chancellor's office as well. But we've been making sure that any student who contacts us and we're able to help, we do that. As far as our CARES program, we've actually given out somewhere around $15,000. About 32 students in over 31 days have asked for additional support, and we've been able to provide funding for those students on an emergency basis as well. And the good news is that they're grants, so they're not having to be paid back, which should actually reduce the stress for students as well.
Thank you so much, Harry. We know that financial aid is very important to our students. Thank you very much for addressing those issues.
My pleasure.
Now on to the financial issues for the entire university. This question is for President Vergy. President, we know that universities across the country are suffering from huge financial losses in this pandemic. How is Cal State Fullerton faring in terms of those numbers?
Well, I think we ought to start by recognizing that COVID has caused health and economic hardships, not just for universities, but around the country for all communities, frankly, around the world for all communities. And as I mentioned in my opening, we know that CFU, Cal State Fullerton students have lost their jobs, family members of faculty members and staff have lost their jobs, children have lost their jobs, spouses, partners. So I think our entire community is feeling the stress of potential financial exigencies. I'm so proud of the way that we've come together as a community to work to alleviate as much of this concern and suffering as we can in the community under the circumstances. You heard Harry talk about some of those things, providing emergency loans and grants. You heard David talk about the 250-hour plus of paid administrative leave we've instituted for our faculty and staff, moving to the work to home program and distributing computers and equipment and working on payment plans and debt forgiveness with our students. And of course, trying to do all of this with empathy and understanding. Clearly, the first order of business for us is supporting our students and our faculty and staff. But as an institution, we are not immune in any way from the financial hardships that we are suffering. As you heard from Amir, in IT alone, we've expended substantial resources, more than $500,000 we had not budgeted for laptops and MiFis and cell phones and infrastructure. And at the same time, we've already committed to nearly $12 million in reimbursements for parking and residential life alone. We've continued to pay all our state employees, including our student employees, importantly, regardless of their ability to work remotely, and have committed to do that for an extended period of time. There are substantial unearned income, unearned grants, and unrealized revenue for ASC and ASI. Virtually every form of revenue generation that we have for self-support programs has stopped. And so they are all upside down. And the list goes on and on. And I think, we're probably at about $20 million upside down right now based on projected losses thus far. I share this not as an intent to diminish the economic hardship of our students or our faculty and our staff, but just merely as fact. And the CARES Act that Harry was talking about, it will help offset some of these costs while also providing additional financial support for our students. And we're working hard to disperse those funds as soon as we can. But we're going to need to tighten our belts across the divisions and across the colleges in the coming months and likely, frankly, the coming years.
Thank you, President. We have received several questions about whether the California state budget will be revisited in May and our budget would be cut, and if we were going to be requiring layoffs or furloughs. Can you talk about that?
Sure. We've instituted a hiring freeze right now. We called it a hiring pause, but I think it's fair to just call it what it is. We are examining every position, whether it's a new position or a replacement position, on a case-by-case basis to make sure that we are actual good stewards of our financial condition. We have no current plans for layoffs or furloughs. Let me say that again. We have no current plans for any layoffs or furloughs. But I will tell you quite honestly that much of that will depend upon the future. It'll really depend on two things: whether we can continue to manage our financial losses and what our ongoing revenue outlook looks like. Virtually all of the revenues that we receive, we get from two sources: from the state and from tuition dollars. We are being warned right now by the state and the chancellor's office to prepare for substantial reductions in state aid. Any ideas of what the May revise was going to look like are out the window. We now actually can have an August revise instead because of the delay in tax days for California. And we're being told to model an estimate of something between 3 and 15%. That's a pretty broad band for reductions in revenue from the state. And we're preparing for those possible reductions. We're also preparing, quite frankly, for a possible reduction in the number of students that we have next year, both returning students and new students. We don't know. And if that happens, that too will reduce the revenues that we receive. So for now, we're following closely what the governor says, what the chancellor's office says, but we've made some plans. We are currently modeling those reductions at different levels and planning for those potentialities so that we are not caught flat-footed. In planning for those potentialities, we've set up a set of guiding principles for looking at budget cuts or budget reductions, safeguarding the continuity and the core mission of our function as a university, inclusive excellence of education, assuring student success in academic programs, their progress toward degree and degree completion, limiting the effects on faculty and staff and administrators is a key issue as well, and protecting the financial solvency and integrity and the viability of the university so that we come out of this financially solvent. Advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion has to continue to be a touchstone that we pay attention to, a capstone that is a part of who we are and what we do. And we're going to look at rewarding excellence and innovation and collaboration and efficiencies in economies and scale. And then finally, making these decisions from a facts basis rather than based upon emotion, from a data-driven basis to make sure that we are being responsible for wherever possible. So I've asked each division to begin to consider these possible reductions in different scenarios and to come up with their own set of guiding principles, and that those principles reflect our university-wide principles. And as we establish those principles, we'll be sharing them transparently with the university community, with our faculty and staff and our students. I did want to finally talk about what we can do individually to help build a tightened safety net for so many of our folks, our students, our faculty and staff who are facing financial hardship. Later today, you're going to receive an email from me announcing an emergency fund that we're setting up to support our tightened needs. There will be one for students and one for faculty and staff. To help begin funding that fund, Julie and I will be committing to contribute 10% of my take-home salary each month for the remainder of 2020 for these emergency funds. I'm going to put 5% into student funds and 5% into faculty and staff funds. I've encouraged my cabinet to also donate to these funds, to participate in that, and we have 100% participation. They've all committed to do so. And so I'm going to be encouraging anyone in the Titan community that can to join us in supporting this emergency fund in any way we can. There'll be all kinds of suggested options, and they're all going to be centered around our 1957 founding date. You can do a one-time gift of $1,557 or $557 or $57. A reoccurring gift of $57 a month or 57 cents a day. Anything that you can do, I know that any amount that you will be providing will support and tighten needs, both for faculty and staff and for students. It's important that we come together as a community to support those most in need at this time, especially our Titan family.
Thank you so much, President Vergy, and thank you for being willing to establish those funds and encourage all of our members of our community to participate, those who are able to. Thank you for that. As a follow-up to what you mentioned about students in the fall, I'd like to bring back Harry LeGrand. What does it look like, student enrollment look like for the fall, Harry?
Thanks, Ellen. So, maybe the one thing that's normal for students is that there's still applications for colleges that are due and decisions that are coming out. We were fortunate enough to meet our April 1 deadline and have communicated with students who have been admitted to CSUF. The deadline is May 1st, but we will be flexible on deposits, probably as late as June 1st if students need more time to think about that. We did have our Welcome to Cal State Fullerton Day on Saturday virtually. We had 93 webinars provided and over 400 students or participants in each one of those sessions. Was great. And in fact, the one on orientation had about 960 participants. So that was probably our largest one ever. And we will continue to do outreach. Like I said, our outreach counselors are calling individuals who have been admitted to make sure that they feel connected. We're going to try to do something special for the students who have actually signed on to come to Cal State Fullerton to kind of recognize and celebrate that milestone for them. And we're really excited about having that happen. Orientation is mandatory and it will be done virtually this summer. And so that information has been going out to students as well about how to sign up for orientation and get involved in that process.
Thank you so much. Well, at this time, I believe we have answered the majority of the questions that have been submitted to us. We'd like to give everyone an opportunity to give any last words to the community. We'll go around the room with David, then Amir, then Pam, then Harry, and finally Fran.
Thanks, Ellen. I'd just like to echo the thanks that everyone's given for our amazing faculty and staff. Y'all have persevered through something that just has absolutely no blueprint, no checklist. And I know that my team and I really appreciate your grace and your humility in working with us as we did our best to navigate and to really help move the university forward and continue our educational mission. So thank you so much. Please stay safe and healthy. And I can't wait to see you all back on campus soon.
Thank you, David. Any last words from you, Amir?
Again, I want to express my thanks, and I want to tell you how much I miss you all. Miss seeing you in person is what I'm missing. That's what it is, a hole in my heart every day that I can't get to see you guys. So anytime, you're welcome to call me for a Zoom meetings, or if you want to know if my beard grows, let me know, and I'll send you a photo pictures of myself. But please let me know what we can do with technology for you. I am here for you. We are here for you. We are doing our jobs to help you succeed and help your students succeed. So please let us know what we can do to make your life easier. And I am always available to you personally. So don't be shy or send me an emails if you need anything. We were here to support you. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Pam, any last words?
Yes, I have a couple of words. One is gratitude and the other is compassion. My gratitude is for so many people. I think of some of the programs and the faculty that are encouraging their students to help the community even in these stressful times. So I'm thinking particularly of the Masters of Science in Educational Technology, and they have asked students and alums who are literally around the country and around the world if they would be willing to serve as mentors to school districts and to faculty and to teachers, elementary school teachers, preschool teachers, around how to work virtually. And they have volunteered as mentors, and they're doing that. So I'm very grateful for that kind of work. I'm grateful for the Faculty Development Center and the OET office, for the Online Educational Technology office, because they have put in tremendous amount of time in trying to help faculty. I'm grateful for the faculty who have taught in situations which is so difficult, where they're under stress, financial concerns about family members, health concerns about family members. They have their kids at home, and they're trying to teach their children and teach the students also. So that's my word of gratitude. I'm especially grateful also for the deans, for their support and the work that they do in terms of continuing their work to keep the colleges going and to keep it at such a high quality. I am very, very impressed with this rapid turnaround, the rapid pivot we had to do, and yet the quality of the work that everyone is doing. My word of compassion is compassion for all of us, that we are exhausted. I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's what I think. We're zoomed out, and but I still think we keep going. We do it with a good attitude and with a Titan spirit. And I'm very, very grateful. I'm compassionate towards all of you in terms of the stresses that you're under, understanding that this is a very difficult time, but also understanding that this is the opportunity where we can provide hope to students. And that's our job. And I think that if we can give hope to each other and kindness to each other, I think that's what we need. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those words of inspiration, Pam. Any last words from you, Harry?
Sure. I would just say thank you for your resilience. I think, as President Virgie said in the very beginning, this was nothing short of a miracle, turning this Titanic into a virtual reality show. And I would just say that thank you for your willingness to continue to give students as normal an experience as they can get given our current environment. And a special shout out to my folks in admissions who continue to do the work that's really important for incoming students and financial aid in their efforts to reach out and support those. And not to diminish the work of anyone else, but I just know that those are heavily regulated and heavily labor intensive areas, and they've been able to continue to move forward with that. And so I want to thank you. Titans do reach higher, and I'm glad to see that we are living by our standards. So thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Harry. And now we turn it over to you, Fram, for our last words.
So I want to start by sharing that I think one of the reasons that we have come through this so well is because of the foundation that we created before all of this began. We have incredible relationships on our campus across divisions, across colleges, among our faculty, between our faculty, staff, and administration, and with our students. Nowhere has that been more on display than the cooperative engagement that has occurred with our academic senate, with our students and student government, ASI, with our amazing interaction between IT and our faculty. So we had the fundamental relationships that have seen us through that, and I am so proud and thankful for that. I want us also to be recognized and be proud of the fact that Cal State Fullerton has been one step ahead in this fight at every step of the way. We were ahead in planning and thinking about when to shut down and how to provide virtual services, and not just moving our academic endeavors online, but moving everything to virtual. We have kept in the forefront that the North Stars, the dual North Stars of academic excellence and continuing academic enterprise, but also protecting the health and safety of our community. And I'm so proud of that. Yes, I am sitting here in my jacket and shirt, but yeah, I've also got shorts on as well, just in case you were wondering. But that's the only difference in the work that we're doing, quite frankly. We are working every day to move mountains. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for the empathy and the love that you're showing in the forefront of the work that you're doing. Especially to faculty and staff that are listening to this. You are the engines that are making this happen. You've not just been moving people and moving equipment and moving funds, you've been moving mountains to make sure that we do well by our students and by each other. I'm so proud and pleased to be doing this with you, to partnering with you. I think this is the first virtual town hall in the university's history. I hope and expect that it will not be the last, but that we will be back being able to do this together soon. And I'm looking forward to being able to do it with our students on Wednesday. But as Amir said, since we're virtual, our virtual doors remain open. As more questions come in, as we continue to navigate, and as facts change and events change, I want you to know that you can contact us. You can send us, whether it's emails or phone or Twitter or Zoom or any other platform that you have. We're open to hearing from you. We're stronger together. We're stronger with your input. We always say it takes a Titan to be sure, but what I've taken to lately saying is the Titans that take are you. You are the Titans that it takes. So please, please, please stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong, stay positive. We are going to come through the other side of this, and whatever that new normal will be, we'll invent it, we'll imagine it, we'll define it together, and we'll live it vividly and energetically together. I'm only optimistic for the future. Take care and be safe.
Thank you so much, President Virgie, and thank each of the members of the cabinet who have been here today. We hope that your questions were answered, and we thank you so much for your perseverance. This video will be available on our website, coronavirus.fullerton.edu, and you can make sure that we will make sure that we have updates for you there. Thank you so much. Take care.